Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be looking at Project Cheapbolt once again. If you haven't been following along, this is our little deadbolt that we started with about a year ago. We're just building it up here and there, keeping us as a very budget-friendly build. Not going with nothing extravagant or overly expensive on it. Just trying to show you don't have to put a lot of money into your truck to have fun with it. Today I'm going to take a look at sliders. These are the factory stock sliders. They do a good job. I mean, they're plastic. They take a beating. They flex a lot. But they do what they're intended to do. What we're going to look at is replacing these with a set from RPM. These ones right here. These are part number 73452. They are the RPM rock sliders with built-in kick-out. It says these for the SCX10s, all versions with at least a 12-inch wheelbase. I was very curious about these as to how well they would look on a 12-inch wheelbase vehicle. I had brought this up whenever RPM posted pictures of these on their Dodge Ram SCX10, their Power Wagon, and I was just curious what they looked like. They said they did not have a deadbolt available to try them out on, and if I ever tried them out, send them a picture, so we'll do that after we get done. Okay, let's tear open the package and see what's inside. We have an instruction sheet here. Shows how they mount, how the brackets mount to the frame, and how the sliders mount to the brackets. One thing about this says it has a high mount and a low mount. I'm pretty sure with the chassis underneath this truck, which is the custom crawl chassis, it is an angled skid. I'll probably end up doing the front ones on the top of the mount and the rears on the bottom. But we'll just have to wait and see once we get in there. Came, of course, with the sliders, one for each side. Also, the brackets, of course. Some stickers. And hardware. Apparently these were packaged by GG. So, let's hope GG got everything in the package. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is pull off one of the sliders off this truck so we can compare the two and see how they look. Here you can see the stock slider. This slider has been with the deadbolt since day one. It has seen a lot of rock rash, but still good serviceable slider, and this will probably find its way onto my current 1.5 build I have going. But let's take a look here. Here's the new RPM slider. And all of its fancy detail. Has this nice little kick out at the end here. Supposed to help the rear tires to keep from getting hung up on rocks. Just have a good slope to it. As you can tell, it is quite a bit longer than the factory piece. And the mounts themselves, mine have been cut down a little bit, my factory ones, so as you can tell, it's supposed to tuck it in a little bit tighter. Looks like it'll set about as tight as the factory one does to the body. The mounts themselves, the stock mounts bolt to the body with one screw. This one goes through the front into the upper link mount, and then the rear just goes through the chassis itself. And on the new ones, the RPM ones though, we have two mounting holes. One of these goes to the stock location, the other one uses the skid, where the screw goes into the skid plate to mount it. So we'll give a lot better mounting there. And as far as mounting the slider to the mount, on these ones, they just slid into the tube, a little set screw went in, held everything in place. On these ones, you have multiple holes here for multiple mounting locations, in and out to fit your body. And there's 3 holes on the slider. So just go together like that, screw together, then you're done. So now let's get one of these mounted up and see how it looks. I'll leave the factory one on for now so we can compare them from one side to the other. And now, as you can see, I have one of the RPM sliders installed. This went fairly easy. Process took about 10-15 minutes. Just the process of taking off the old slider, slapping on the new one, and lining it up, and lining up the bolts. Let's take a look here at how it fits the body. As you can tell, it fits nice and tight up against the body. Also, it fits nice between the wheels. The rear one comes close to the rear wheel, leaves maybe about 1/8 to 1/4 inch of clearance there, which is just fine. That way you keep it from getting hung up on rocks. Rocks will hit here and kick out, keep from getting caught on your tire. Let's take the body off here. As you can tell, the factory one left quite a gap here. I can get 2 fingers between there. This way the RPM one closes that off. As you can tell, they both stick out about the same. I do have this in as far as it'll go. That way it fits my body and the track of my wheels. Let's take a look from the bottom. Here you can see that I have the front mount mounted over top the mount and the rear is going underneath. That is because, like I said before, I do have an angled skid chassis from Custom Crawl underneath this truck. But by doing it this way, it lets me run the sliders nice and even. That means this will work on other angled skid chassis too, such as like the Toyzuki and anybody else that comes along with one. So that's nice to know. We will go ahead and get the other one mounted up and see if we run into any problems on the other side. I do know this much from the RPM literature, is that these wire holders right here, we do have to get rid of those. They will not work, they say, with the RPM mounts. So we'll just have to wait and see there. So let's get those changed and see if there's any other problems that we'll run into. We now have the slider installed on this side as well. Went just as smoothly as it did on the other side. No problems at all. Bolted right up, even with having to mount one high and one low. The only thing is, like the instructions said, you can no longer use the wire clips that come on the SCX10 from the factory, but that's okay. A couple of zip ties do just as good, if not a better job, holding all your wiring in place. They feel nice and sturdy. The plastic is a lot stiffer than the factory SCX10 sliders. I like the fact that it kicks back here to keep rocks from jamming up in here. I've had that problem before of getting a rock caught between the slider and the wheel and not being able to get up over it because it's jammed in there and wedged. This should help it slide around, no problems. I'll update the description below once I run these and see what I think of them. Hopefully the weather will break soon and I'll get a chance to make it out to my favorite crawl spot. Thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe for more updates. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Do a lot more Instagram than we do Facebook. I'll put the links below, and thank you for watching.